Hey guys and gals, it's me, M.Sin or M.Sinclair, whatever the fuck you want to call me. And today we're reading a personality test. It's got a decent premise, and I think it's half decent. I think you'll enjoy it. Well, I've got to go to work soon, and you want to get to the story, so let's jump into it. Hi, my name is Jacob. I'm not that significant in the world that we live in. It seems to me that other people are always the main character, and I'm just an NPC. For the majority of my life, I've been fine with that, but recently something has come up that made me much more important than a background character. It all started the day before I got a job interview. I recently got fired and needed a new job. I was stressing out about it, so I decided to play a game to take my mind off of it for the time being. I was browsing around the internet and looking for a free game to download. Call me a thief, but sometimes game companies can really rob you of your money. The only reason why I download games illegally is because I live in a low-income area and money isn't something that I can throw around without repercussions, so I'm looking for a download of Assassin's Creed 4. And when I found a torrent of it, I downloaded it and went downstairs to get something to eat. When I came back, the file had downloaded it. I opened it up, and in the folder was a bunch of ISO jargon that I didn't really care for, and an expected exe file, which I clicked on. Without thinking twice, I accepted the user account control panel when it was brought up, but instead of bringing up the game installer, I was surprised to find that Windows command prompt had opened up. I tried exiting, but it was stuck on the screen. I couldn't exit out of it either, so I read what was on it. What it read, I wasn't expecting. Hello, you know how you never really think twice about allowing a program to access and modify your hard drive? Well, maybe after this you will. We can't blame you. Most programs do what they say when you allow them that privilege. Most programs. This is an exception. Now, I know that you're probably confused, surprised, and maybe a bit miffed that your precious file isn't what you wanted it to be, but we need you to put that aside. We have a test, and if you refuse to take this test, we will plant rather discrepant information on your hard drive and notify the authorities about it anonymously. So I implore that you comply with us. Yes or no? I reread the paragraph. Was it a joke? I didn't want to take the chances, but something about this was off. I didn't know what to think of it. What did they mean by discrepant information? How are they doing this? Why? But all of these questions were unanswered. I would have to play their game to find out. With much reluctance, I pressed Y on my keyboard and read the new text that appeared. You have recently gotten a contract from a company that promises high-paying position. All you have to do is meet up with the CEO for an interview. You're driving down to the building when you get a phone call. It's from your local hospital. Your wife was just in a car accident and is terribly injured. If you go to the hospital, you lose any chance of getting that job. Y to visit your wife, N to continue driving to the interview. I picked Y and the program responded. You wouldn't do that. Yes or no? I don't know why, but this unsettled me. I picked N and the program responded. You're a bad liar. Yes or no? At this point, I was starting to become somewhat nervous. I didn't want to admit it, but I would have chosen the money. I just didn't want whatever this was to know. I picked no again, and hoping that the program would stop and move on to the next question. Try again? I picked Y this time, and the original question was brought up. I picked no this time, and instead of responding, it brought me to the next question. But the way it knew what I really would have picked before I made the answer made me feel helpless. I had the freedom to choose, but they knew I was lying. But what the hell would you have done? If that happened to you, wouldn't you pick the money too, right? Both of your living parents are drowning. Who do you save? N for your father, Y for your mother. I chose my mother. Really, it asked. I picked no. These questions kept going on and on, progressively getting darker as I went on, but the eerie thing is, it didn't think I would choose the worst of the two options all the time. Like, if given the chance, would you kill your worst enemy, or if you were able to, would you rape a beautiful woman? They relented on, but for every question they seemingly knew. As the test went on, I gave up and started to answer honestly. I'd felt like I was seeing myself in a whole new light. Was I really this bad? Was I really this awful of a person on the inside? I kept repressing those thoughts, but the test kept encouraging me to think about it. You and your friend are trapped in a cave, and it will be a while until help comes. Will you eat him to stay alive? I was starting to get it now. I picked Y. You find a $100 bill on the ground. Do you try to look for the owner? I picked no. But just when I thought it was over, the test gave me one final question. Are you a good person? I was starting to doubt my self-worth at this point. The test had revealed who I really was on the inside, and I didn't want to see a single bit of it. At this point, I was compelled to just shut down my computer. If the police locked me up, I don't give a fuck. Right now, all I wanted to do was go to sleep, but the game wouldn't let me. The fucking test had me pinned down against the ground, and there was nothing I could do but look at it in the eyes and completed it. And that's what I did. With a forceful press of the finger, I selected no, and the test congratulated me. It promptly closed, then shut down my computer and went to sleep. The dreams I had were less than pleasant. I tried to flush out the memories of last night, but I couldn't. When I woke up, I started the car and started driving to my job interview. About halfway there, I got a phone call. I pulled over to the side of the road when I saw that it was the hospital. A distressed nurse was on the phone. She told me that my girlfriend was involved in a shooting and was dying. My heart should have been racing. I should have been going back and forth between what I should do. I should have been in a panic. This was my chance to prove myself, to prove that I am a good person. I should have dropped the contract and drove over to the hospital, but I didn't. I wouldn't. I already knew what I was going to do. I hung up the phone and sped off towards the job interview. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a personality test. It's not the worst written thing in the world. There's a couple things that I would have changed about it. First of all, I feel like there were plenty of ways to get around this. Why didn't he unplug the computer, for example, and completely disconnect it from the internet? And if they decided, hey, let's say that the owner of the computer had illegally obtained illicit material on his computer, he could have just thrown the computer out, smashed the hard drive, told the police, hey, no, I don't own a computer, I have an Xbox, but no computer. You can go check the files if you like. Maybe the guy doesn't own an Xbox, but just unplugging it and throwing it away, smashing the hard drive and everything would have fixed the situation. Not only that, but it's like, on top of that, it's like, why didn't the guy just call the company and, I don't know, explain to them, hey, there's an emergency that came up. My girlfriend's been shot. I need to go see her in the hospital. Can we reschedule this for another day? Most companies, if you're a well qualified candidate, would be like, hey, sure, go ahead. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And if not, then do you really want to work for a company that wouldn't let you go visit your dying girlfriend or family member, right? Why would you work for them? So it just, like, it doesn't make sense. I think the premise is neat because not only does it imply that the program was specifically written for him and put in a place on the internet where the author would have found it, but it knows who he is. So it's like, is this guy stalking him? Is it a close friend that knows you're a terrible person? So on and so forth. It has a lot of, like, it has a lot of potential, and that's what I like about it, but there's nothing particularly scary about it. It's like, oh no, my shit got hacked. Let me just unplug my shit, throw out my hard drive, and if the police come to check my shit, hey, do you guys have a warrant? Oh, you do? Okay. Thanks. I don't have a computer. Go fuck yourself. I don't know. That's probably what bugs me the most, is because there's a lot of implications here, things that make it more interesting than it is, but it just, it's a terrible story, frankly. Honestly, I just came back to this because I listened to it years ago on the Mutahar Subordinary Gamers channel, and I remembered it being pretty decent, but I hadn't listened to it in, 10 years? I'm turning 23 soon. And you know how the 13-year-old mind is. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like this. I'm going to make it seem better in my mind than it is. Which is what exactly happened here, unfortunately. Anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I am out.